Welcome to Section 2, Managing Cyber Resilience Strategy Controls and Align with the ITSM. Cyber Resilience Strategy is the first stage of the cyber resilience life cycle in line with the IT service management life cycle, which has 5 stages, namely service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, and continual service improvement. Cyber resilience also has the same similar 5 life cycle stages and aligns with ITSM life cycle. So here we're going to look at what this strategy is about, what are the controls therein, and such as governance, for example, and then what are the interfaces of that with the ITSM processes of the service strategy. Now, if you have completed our RESILIA Foundation training from us, you may skip all content in this section except a few slides, namely slide number 46, 55 through 59, and 77 through 80. So that's about 10 slides here which are new, and you can refer to them if you need. But for the best understanding, we would highly recommend that you go through the entire section once again, unless you are fully confident of the content from the foundation, if you have done that very recently. And 8 questions in the exam from this section. So syllabus is going to be very similar. Maybe there'll be something a little extra here, and it's worth understanding what that is. Here, the syllabus for the exam is to explain the purpose and use of the control objectives. Namely, there are 5 of them. The first control is to establish governance, and we'll focus on vision and mission here in particular in this course, and the key activities of governance, managing stakeholders, then identifying and categorizing stakeholders, particularly gathering stakeholder requirements and planning the communications with them. And D here is to create and manage cyber resilience policies. So we'll look at the structure of policies and a bit more on the policies, management of policies. And then E is to manage audit and compliance. Then we will also go through the interfaces with the ITSM processes in ITIL V3, and these will be namely strategy management for IT services, service portfolio management, financial management for IT services, demand management, business relationship management. We also have this information risk management and risk treatment. So firstly, what is cyber resilience strategy? This ensures that activities to protect an organization's information assets are coherent and cyber resilience objectives are understood and aligned with the needs of stakeholders, which means that it is first of all important to understand what the resilience needs are. And that will depend on the needs of stakeholders who will together convene and conclude those requirements. So it means the strategy approach here provides a common understanding to ensure that people in the organization are working together. There is coherence among them to achieve these objectives and ensures availability of resources for this. This strategy development for cyber resilience should be performed by governors and management. So it starts from the topmost body of the organization and percolates to senior management and other management levels. It's a critical part of the management system for the overall organization. And it also provides a framework for the organization to adapt to a changing environment by which appropriate responses to previously unknown threats and vulnerabilities can be made in a way that aligns with the goals of the organization. Meaning, strategy is not static. There'll be changes to the environment, and the strategy should respond to it based on certain events happening externally or based on certain other factors, such as internal business changes. Without such a cyber resilience strategy, its activities are likely to be disjointed with no clear objectives, no understanding of how cyber resilience contributes to value to the organization, and no ability will be there to adapt to changing circumstances. So which means that this cyber resilience strategy is closely connected with the business itself. It is not that it's just with the IT department and they keep doing some work such as setting up firewalls or network access. It is more than that. Even though those things such as firewalls and network access are some of the technical controls that will eventually be designed and applied. So how does this strategy help really? It helps the organization and its stakeholders to understand the following. First of all, people will get to know what cyber resilience really is. And they will also understand the importance of this to the organization and to its customers. So it is not that it's generally jump into implementing controls, but understanding from a wider perspective and from a higher level, and then drill down downwards. And also this helps to understand how cyber resilience will be managed and funded. Funding is part of the strategic consideration. Then also the organization capabilities required to deliver the necessary cyber resilience will be understood. And also it'll be known what assets will be used to manage this resilience and how performance of these assets can be optimized. And then also how this resilience will be integrated into all aspects of value creation for an organization, ensuring that the business processes that the organization depends on and the data and information that these processes use are properly protected. And the stakeholders will also understand the approach the organization will take to manage cyber resilience and the relevant objectives that they will work towards together and the constraints within which they must work. So what are the controls that come from cyber resilience strategy? There are 4 of them, but before we go into that list in the box to the right, these controls make a significant contribution to establish and maintain a cyber resilience strategy of an organization. These controls are administrative type rather than technical ones, and these influence people and design of other controls rather than directly impacting specific technical risks. And not everybody will understand what the strategic governance goals are, but they should appreciate the reasons behind these controls they operate or supervise. Therefore, people should be educated even about the governance controls. It is not that governance is only for the topmost body or the other senior management, but all these should be transparent to all employees of the organization. So further, establishing the controls, uh, we begin with the first control to establish the governance of cyber resilience. There were 4 controls. The first one is to establish governance of cyber resilience. After that, we will go into managing stakeholders, then creating and managing policies for cyber resilience, and then managing the audit and compliance for cyber resilience. So the first one here is to establish the governance for this. Governance, it ensures that the organization understands and meets the expectations of the owners and other stakeholders. We have seen earlier in the general view of governance, it is about evaluate, direct, and monitor. Evaluate the business, how it is positioned and what are the opportunities and dilemmas, and then work out the direction, meaning high-level plans and decisions, and then monitor the progress as per the direction. So here for cyber resilience, similarly, there has to be governance, and that begins by understanding what is needed so that the interests of the stakeholders are protected and the right things are done eventually, and that legal and regulatory frameworks and requirements are met eventually. And I was just mentioning that governance is much wider than cyber resilience, but a key point here to note is that the governance of cyber resilience should be part of the overall governance of the organization. It should not be skipped. And we have seen earlier that the corporate governance is the responsibility of the board of management or equivalent, who are accountable to the owners and to other stakeholders such as government or regulatory authorities. So this governance provides oversight of cyber resilience and ensures that all aspects of cyber resilience are appropriate for the organization.